नेपाल इकोनोमी सानो छ देश सानो छ भन्छ Nepal is not a small economy. Nepal is a underbuilt economy. विदेशमा युवा पलायन भइरहेछन् ट्यालेन्ट बाहिर गइरहेछन् किन
हामी जुन इन्भाइरोमेन्टमा हुर्किन्छौँ त्यहाँ जस्तो कन्भर्सेसन्स भइरहेको हुन्छ त्यसले नै हामीलाई शेप गर्छ नि त टु अ मेजर एक्सटेन्ट हैन नोबडी एक्चुअली वान्ट्स टु टक अबाउट मनी बिकज इट्स अलवेज सॉर्ट अफ बीन लाइक अ ट्याबू हैन डोन्ट टक अबाउट इट लाइक हश हश
Even for a business, profit is not a dirty word. You need to make profits. Tara, how are you making that profit? Are you able to sleep at night?
Happy with the circumstances for our own sanity, but always looking for bettering yourself.
Better, looking for a better tomorrow. नेपालमा Shark Tank चल्छ कि चल्दैन कसलाई थाहा थियो But we said this is a show that Nepal needs.
Beyond just chasing and being in the pursuit of wealth, and like what investment do you think is like the best investment that you can make after like one thing Nepal needs to export more
Nepal itself Nepal as a brand is under marketed be a better version of yourself because I don't believe in competition you are your only competition so you always become a better version of yourself with each passing day.
Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Rato Rupaiya the podcast. This is Riya Shrestha, your host. As we sat down with none other than Mr. Saurabh Jyoti. Mr. Saurabh Jyoti is the chairman of Padma Jyoti Group, one of Nepal's most storied business families, a name that has been part of this country's economic fabric for decades. From steel to automobiles, from FMCG to health sector, he spent his career not just inheriting a legacy, but actively shaping what it becomes next. Beyond the boardroom, he's known as a collector, a lifestyle figure, and one of Nepal's most iconic voices behind Made in Nepal movement. This is a conversation about legacy, business, people, and money. I would also like to give a very special shout out to our sponsor of this episode, Salvino Shades. Salvino, an eyewear brand bringing together vision, fashion, and confidence because great style starts with how you see the world. Visit salvinoshades.com and discover your perfect shades. Salvino, see beyond limits. Let's get right into it, shall we? 3, 2, 1, let's get right into it, shall we?
I'm
okay.
ready.
All right. So, whoever comes to this podcast, first of all, this podcast is centered around business people and money. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, content creators, anyone who is involved in business one way or the other. Gets invited to this podcast, and I'm so glad that you're here today. I don't think anybody needs your introduction. Everybody knows you in one capacity or the other. I know. When I meet you, my thought process is always like, okay, very strong, very energetic, confident person, right? But I want you to draw me a picture, take me back to when you were probably 13, right? I just like the age 13. I feel like you're just stepping into teenage, everything, So teti bela chai just draw me a picture. Oily, however you are as a person, kun part chai you feel like was still there even as a 13-year-old. Or anything that happened in your childhood that shaped you to do everything that you're doing in your life currently. So, yeah, I just want like certain traits.
13 भन्दा त्यो बेला हेर्यो भने we were not as sorted out as the Gen Zs or the younger generation. किनभने त्यो बेला एकदमै किसिमले एउटा structured it used to be a structured life that what your parents want you to be. And as young children or just teenagers, our generation were not clear. We were not so forward thinking and ambitious as the younger generation. So त्यो बेला के हुन्थ्यो धेरै गरेर कि ब्रनिलकण्ठ स्कुल जान्थ्यो यहाँ नेपालमा त्यति राम्रो स्कुलहरु पनि थिएनन् त्यो बेला and those who could would go to India, Darjeeling, Kalimpong to study. So I was also sent to a boarding school in St. Joseph's, North Point, Darjeeling to study. Because त्यो बेला Jesuit education, disciplined, English speaking, it used to be considered to be a good education system. So once you get in to a Jesuit style boarding school education, there are pros and cons. The cons is, of course, you're away from home, you miss home a lot. Pros चाहिँ के हो भनेपछि it's a very disciplined life. Your whole day, there's a timetable, is structured, what you need to do. र एडुकेसनमा मात्रै सीमित नभइकन स्पोर्ट्समा पनि धेरै चाहिँ उहाँहरूले प्रोत्साहन गर्थ्यो, which is a plus point. So I got into tennis, I got into swimming, I got into football, music. So that was something, एउटा holistic education को अहिले पनि हामी कुरा गर्छौं. Bank Street style of education, learning by doing, अहिले IB को कुरा गर्छौं. So that was the best during those times in the early 90s, 80s and 90s. So to a large extent, that education, the discipline, the values, the friendships, the experiences, in a large way, has shaped me to who I am. That we weren't so ambitious. That we'll get to later, because that may be a little bit more in terms of family upbringing. And once you get back to Nepal, the sequence of events that happened, त्यो सबैले गरेर चाहिँ एक किसिमले एउटा business family background बाट आएको हुनाले I chose भन्दा पनि it was a sort of it was not a career choice, it was a responsibility. No matter where I went, what I did, even after school, in college, I always knew that मेरो चाहिँ जिम्मेवारी नेपालमा छ, नेपालमा फर्केर काम गर्नुपर्छ. आफ्नो फ्यामिली बिजनेसमा I need to take the legacy forward भनेर त्यो जहिले पनि करियर चोइस भन्दा पनि रिस्पोन्सिबिलिटीकै रूपमा मैले लिएको थिएँ.
यो अब इन्ट्रोभर्जन र एक्सट्रोभर्जनको त स्पेक्ट्रम हुन्छ नि हैन, तपाई त त्यसमा चाहिँ कहाँ फल गर्नुहुन्थ्यो?
Recently, I came across a new term called introvert. It is between introvert and extrovert. So I realized right now I am there. So introvert भने के हो भनेपछि only in certain circles that you are comfortable with, you become very open like an extrovert. Otherwise, in larger circles, you tend to be a little quieter and more like an introvert. Tara? Earlier years, I would consider myself an introvert because neither did I excel at academics, neither was I excellent at any sport. Average, sometimes above average. Tennis, I was a little above average. Swimming, I was really bad. Football, I was above average because we used to play school level, university level. Basketball, I was below average. So, त्यो confidence चाहिँ थिएन because I wasn't excelling or leading in any field. So I was relatively average student at that time in sports and academics. So introvert थिएँ म.
So when I think about you, that's kind of intimidating, especially as a kid, knowing that, okay, you are born into a legacy. If I were in your place, I would have been like, okay, Ansani, how do I step up as the next generation? So did you ever feel that even as a kid? Like, what's the thought process?
त्यो बेला, it might sound alikata surprising, but we were brought up in a very simple manner. Our lifestyle was very simple. किनभने त्यो बेला अहिले जतिको business grow भइरहेको थियो, तर whatever returns the family was getting, we were reinvesting into the business to grow the business.
Really? Okay.
So we did not have disposable income or to spend. Even my parents had a very limited budget, and hence we as children had a very limited budget. So much so, during up to class 10, I would not even think that I was from a very upper class a wealthy family because the way I was brought up. Even at the factory, we used to go to the factory. It was a new factory. But a factory, I would see my grandfather, my father, every day going to the factory, monitoring, working with the laborers there, working as a team. So, त्यो humility थियो. I used to have a lot of friends. I still have a lot of friends whose fathers used to work at the factory. Now they're still working in various capacities. Maybe as a mechanic, some have graduated to become engineers, but I still have friends in my organization whose parents used to work in the organization and now even they work in the organization. So, त्यस्तो lavish spending, त्यस्तो केही थिएन. Very humble, with humility, and as I said, I was not even aware that I would, as you all would put it, a privileged, wealthy background. त्यस्तो चाहिँ त्यो बेला it was very simple living, high thinking. The principles that my grandfather Mani Jyoti used to abide by.
But you must have known that, okay, your business family to ho bhanera, because like हामी जुन इन्भाइरोमेन्टमा हुर्किन्छौँ त्यहाँ जस्तो कन्भर्सेसन्स भइरहेको हुन्छ त्यसले नै हामीलाई सेप गर्छ नि त टु अ मेजर एक्सटेन्ट होइन. फर इक्जाम्पल अब आई वाज ब्रट अप इन अ जबको फ्यामिली, सो मेरो दिमाग पनि त्यसरी नै सेप हुन्छ नि त. ओके, आई निड टु गेट अ जब वेन आई ग्रो अप, आई निड टु डु दिस 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 भन्ने सेट हुन्छ नि त. सो टेल मी अबाउट लाइक फर इक्जाम्पल लाइक डिनर कन्भर्सेसन्सहरू. यु सेड लाइक फ्याक्ट्री पनि जानुहुन्थ्यो तपाईँले होइन, तपाईँ जानुहुन्थ्यो. सो do you remember anything about the moments when tapai factory januhuन्थ्यो or your father, grandfather talking about business?
Factory चाहिँ छुट्टी भयो कि all our holidays we used to go to the factory. Parwanipur, Birganjma हाम्रो factory हुन्थ्यो. We were very involved. My parents, my grandfathers were very involved in the factory because it was the first त्यो बेला चाहिँ growth stage थियो. The factories were just established. Expansion was going on.
के को factory?
So we have Himalayan and Steel. त्यो बेला बाल्टिन कारखाना थियो, किल्ला कारखाना थियो, Oxygen थियो, Himal Wires थियो. So all these factories were at the Jyoti farm. So I would always visit, look forward to, because all my friends were there. There was a big area थियो त्यहाँ हैन. साइकल चलाउँथे हामी, उखुबारीमा जान्थे, आँपको बारी थियो. So, and we used to jump and play in the hay because we had a lot of agriculture also side by side. So those were good memories. Tara really bhane jasto there was a realization we are from a business background, because whenever we have conversations with my grandfather, my father, it used to evolve around business. A lot of decisions used to take place around dinner table or family gatherings, and त्यो decisions कस्तो हुन्थ्यो र business plan कस्तो हुन्थ्यो भने it not necessarily, I never heard them discussing about money or profits. It was about reinvesting in businesses, creating more jobs, responsibility towards our employees, customers, giving back to society what we can do. बिहार बनाउने कि, धर्मोदय सभामा काम गर्ने कि, Buddhist World Buddhist Federation मा someone was involved, dad is involved in FNCCI, policy shaping को कुराहरू हुन्थ्यो. So त्यसले गरेर चाहिँ, and our responsibility towards the nation. So त्यस्तो कुराहरू हुँदा I realized that it's not about money. It's about growing the business together, inclusive growth, taking your team, means employees, along, providing the best service to the customers, and at the same time being a transparent, ethical business, which were, and are, and will be our family values, taking it forward. So your stewardship, responsibility ko kura chahi hunthyo. So largely that is what has shaped even Padma Jyoti Group, and these are still the principles and values and ethics that we abide by, even now 3 generations down, 60 years, 6 decades down. त्यही सिद्धान्तमा हामी बसेर काम गर्ने चाहिँ हामीले निरन्तर प्रयास छ.
when we were doing the Shark Tank video, I remember the promo ko lagi, and I had asked you, tapailai, like, who do you look up to as an entrepreneur, Manara? And you said your grandfather, right? So tell me about him. Like, how was he as a person?
I always say he loved me the most.
Okay.
And I was actually the closest to him. 8 grandchildren.
Okay.
I was the second eldest. And I spent a lot of time with him amongst all the grandchildren. I was the naughtiest also. I think there's a record that he was a very calm, patient man, but I'm the only grandchild who is actually slapped because I was so naughty. You know? But I used to, at times, go to him. I used to sleep in his room. I never used to sleep with my parents. I used to say, I want to go sleep with my granddad. Used to get up early in the morning, go for dhyan, go for walks. He used to visit China, I remember, and he used to buy shoes, and I used to take his shoes. I said, I want your shoes. I used to take his shoes. So I spent a lot of time with him. And something that I learned from him was that he had that, always wanted to give people, you know. A very giving personality. You're saying business ma pani, he used to always, of course, the business needs to make money. He was a very good business person. He was a visionary because he established the first steel plant, the first wires plant, first oxygen plant. So visionary, he was a visionary. Tara, he used to, what he taught me the most was humility. You know, whether he was talking to the king, the prime minister, or to a employee at the shop floor, working the machines at the factory, he used to treat them the same way with same respect. And what you give, you get. So he used to get that same amount of respect for him, and from the employees to anyone who would do anything for him in business. So he had that vision where he wanted to grow the business in terms of industries, services, and trading. He started. So our industrial wing was the first. Then we started trading with Honda. Then a lot of service businesses we started. He started the first roof of the world factory in Lhasa, the first Nepalese private joint venture with the Chinese government. Later it closed down. But Himal Agencies was a clearing office in Calcutta. So he, even not just in Nepal, in India and Lhasa also, he started a lot of businesses. That is regarding business, what we learned from him. And very ethical, very clear, no nonsense. But at the same time, from the business, besides the business, earnings from the business, and besides the business, what the earnings we had, a large portion of it used to go हाम्रो नेपाल भाषाको लागि, हाम्रो संस्कृति जोगाउन, नेवारी भाषा, culture, whether it was to build the temples, हाम्रो कसागुठीमा केही गर्नु पर्यो, केही भयो भने, or on a national level, whatever projects were happening in terms of CSR, building temples, a lot of donations he used to give, and a lot of time also he used to give to organizations. So that policy formulation देखि लिएर विभिन्न कुरामा he used to play an active role. So that is something that maybe seeing him, I also divide my time, not just in my own business, but towards giving back to society or the nation via involvement of my time in social activities as well as अरु सङ्घ संस्थामा जसले गरेर चाहिँ देशको विकासतिर हाम्रो क्षेत्रबाट हाम्रो विज्ञता भएको, एक्सपर्टिज भएको सरसल्लाह गरेर नेपाल सरकारसँग होस् या कोही non-profit organization होस् या education field, culture, हाम्रो Nepalese culture like promote गर्नेमा. So that is something that even our generation tries to do.
Also, you talk about him very fondly, and you just have a smile always when you talk about him. Has he told you anything like, okay, agadi nai rahera, has he told you or taught you any values that you remember? Like, okay, esto चाहिँ हुनुपर्छ है तिमी भनेर के भन्नु भएको छ? Do you remember anything?
I think मलाई के लाग्छ भने भनेको कुरा सम्झिँदैन धेरै कुराहरू, तर गरेको कुरा चाहिँ धेरै मान्छे प्रभावित हुन्छ. हामी पनि भन्छौँ नि children, grandchildren, you tell them a lot of things. तर our children and our grandchildren will not learn from what we tell them. They will learn from seeing us, how we behave at home, how we conduct ourselves in office professionally and personally, in office or at home. So what I learned from him, more than him saying a lot of things, was how he conducted himself with confidence, with the heads of state, how he dealt with the employees, and how he used to selflessly give a lot of time, effort, tangible and intangible, time and money towards helping people. अहिले पनि धेरै बाजाको generation या one generation come and tell me stories about him. म त आएको थिएँ नि, उहाँले गरेर म यहाँ पुगेको हो, उहाँले इन्करेज गरेर म यो संस्थामा लायो, उहाँले पढेर मैले यो बिजनेस सफल भएको, उहाँले मलाई सुरु गर्नलाई मलाई ऋण दिनुभएको थियो. Or he had given me mentorship. So that is the legacy that he left behind and the impact.
So when you see yourself, kun part of him do you see like strongly in you? Like you talk about ethical, he was ekdam ethical, he was giving, he always thought about the community. So some aspects from which do you see strongly in yourself? Which part?
Strongly, rather than me seeing strongly, I think that is someone else what they try and see. But I think he would be proud of me in the sense that how even being third generation, third generation marks a big rinse. There is the risk factor. Most family businesses collapse during the third generation. They make compromises on the values. So I think that is something that our generation, not just me, my brother and the entire generation, my wife, my sister-in-law, all have abided by. So I think he would still be proud of how we are conducting ourselves and how the business has grown and changed according to the times. तर त्यही सिद्धान्तमा टिकेर कम्प्रोमाइज नगरिकन फ्यामिली भ्याल्युज र प्रिन्सिपल्समा बसेर चाहिँ हामीले जति एक्सपेन्सन गरेका छौँ, that is something I feel he would be proud of.
So whenever we think about our parents or grandparents, we always think you're a nostalgia ko hisabले and everything seems so nice, But now that you're taking the business forward in such a great manner, what do you think that पहिला चाहिँ you've done it so incredibly well compared to the past? Now that you're doing, when you're taking it forward, what things are you doing in a really good manner, which maybe lacked in the past aligadi? Or refined, kun way ma refined bhayireko cha.
You're a legacy business bhayera when he founded the first steel mill, the first wires mill, the first oxygen mill. It's a very high benchmark, and it's very difficult to beat that. तर त्यो भन्दै पनि so much has changed. The market has changed. So we have been able to adapt and change according to the needs of the market. We have been able to sustain our businesses, and all the products, services, industries that we run are still, if not number one, among the top 5 in each category. We have been able to grow. We have been able to sustain the businesses and sustainably grow it over a period of time. त्यो चाहिँ something that is a good measure for our success जस्तो लाग्छ. किनभने अहिले कुरा गर्दा पनि whenever we take a business decision, we always think, would that decision still be the right decision if I were 10 years down the line? If I look back, was that the right decision? Bhanera sochda, based on, again, coming back to the way we work, the systems, the values that we follow. If I still think 10 years down the line, I made the right decision right now, that would be the right decision. So, एउटा growth भनेको, we may not have grown as we would have liked to. The growth trajectory of many other businesses, competitors, other business groups would have been much more. We wouldn't say we are the fastest growing, but we have always taken a step forward and are consistently growing our businesses, not just in a Yoda sector. We have entered many new sectors, whether it's FMCG, whether it's hospitality, whether it's health, whether it's now the new industries, IT ma हामी, AI ma lagirachhau, digital marketing. So many things, new fields that we've entered, which समय सापेक्ष हामी अगाडि बढेनौँ भन्छ है. We become obsolete भएको हुनाले त्यो हिसाबले चाहिँ हाम्रो ग्रोथ चाहिँ मलाई satisfactory नै लाग्छ. And I feel in the future we will continue to invest, continue to grow, and continue to secure all our employees, their families. एउटा measure of success मलाई के लाग्छ भने, people would say, you're wearing a fancy, expensive watch, you're riding or you're driving a fancy car. So that could be a flex. But for me, the biggest flex would be walking into office and knowing that you have employed thousands of people and are supporting thousands of families, and you continue to do so responsibly, so that even in the future, you ensure their future is secure. So that would be a biggest flex. And that way, money is not everything. You talk about money. Money is a byproduct. You have a vision. You want to work towards your vision. You have a good team. You have an idea. And if the market responds and you do well, that is something that we wish to create and have a brighter future, not just grow the business. Your inclusive growth ko lai chahi, that is something that is very essential, and that is something that we strive to do.
You talked about thousands of employees, hai na? That the group is employing, hai na? Does it ever do you ever feel you're a certain level of pressure or responsibility, anything like alikati huncha ni? All of these people are relying for their livelihood. Like, have you ever felt this the pressure or not?
No, of course, because the decision that I make, the top management, my family makes, my brother makes, my father, my wife, my sister-in-law as top managers make, could affect that business. That business could go in a loss, could go into bankruptcy, and the people would lose their jobs. But that's something that's a part of, you say, legacy business, you're born with a silver spoon. Mansa. Of course, when you're in a family business, you are already at a platform, which is a positive aspect. The platform, not many people get it. But along with that, that pressure is there. But the pressure matre haina, family business ko legacy le, त्यो silver spoon, or that you're given that opportunity and put at that platform will open many doors for you. But with those open doors, to stay in the room, you have to create value. Your individual value, your own recognition. So unless you create that value and that individual recognition by having that leadership, by growing the businesses, you will not sustain. The businesses will collapse. So that is something very important we strive to do. Of course, some businesses fail. But overall, if you're doing well, and it's a plus, some businesses will fail, some businesses will do well. But then, the learnings from the failures, we put it on to the next ventures that we do, so that we don't repeat the mistakes and we succeed. Because, kasto huncha bhanyo bhane, no matter, it's when you're a business person, you put in the hard work, all the emotions, blood, sweat, you have a great idea, that ultimately, whether you succeed or not, there is only one single factor. That's the market. The market doesn't care about your emotions, your hard work, your story, how much time you've put in, your effort. No. If you provide value, the market will support you, your business will grow. If you don't, you will fail. That is the most brutal test for any business. So we have to move with the market. We have to move with the times. That is what we try and do, and provide value, fill the gaps, and make a positive impact for the customers that we have. So that is a simple formula that we follow. It's been working out well so far.
I see you as someone who already has had a fantastic personal brand, say, right? Like everyone has, like whenever you think about an entrepreneur or a businessman, you name some people, people will name you. Okay? जता पनि कलेजमा जाँदाखेरि if I conduct a workshop, they will name you always, हैन? अनि I think Shark Tank आएपछि चाहिँ obviously people have certain notions about you, neither, like you said, like legacy business and everything. So तर Shark Tank आएपछि चाहिँ what I noticed was people actually got to see a really sharp version of you, okay? हैन? The actual businessman version. So what has changed since Shark Tank चाहिँ तपाईको लागि?
So as you said, sorry, you were saying something.
So do people like think of you in a different light or not? Because like for me, it was obviously I always thought of you as someone who was sharp, but this maze you could actually see that you were so strategic with your decisions. Whatever you had ideas about so many industries, like sabai sharks ko humle dekhna payo, हैन? But people, I could see comments, man, they were like very positive about how they got to see you. So what has changed Shark Tank पछि चाहिँ?
I think nothing has changed. I'm still me. Social media. Generally, what I used to put out on social media used to be generally based on my hobbies and my interests, whether I'm riding motorcycles, about tech, gadgets. I love collectibles, Marvel. So I used to put out I didn't want to put out a lot of serious things because people, and social media, depending on Insta, Facebook, is not a really business-like or serious platform. It's more of a lifestyle. So that's what I thought. And so similarly, I used to put out a lot of content, and maybe in a way I got tagged as, this guy is not serious with business. He's always more into bikes, and, generally he is a collector. So
what do you think about those comments, say?
Well, I mean, if you start reading the comments and you start thinking about what people think about you, I mean, that's not a good way to lead your life. You know who you are, you know what you want, and it doesn't matter what other people think of you, as long as you know yourself and you know what you need to do, or what is your purpose in life. But Shark Tank was a strategic decision also, because I felt that a lot of people think I don't work. They think I'm jobless. This guy is just hanging around, going for trips, riding bikes, which is not bad, because whenever I do trips also, I'm trying to promote destinations in Nepal. Tara, alikata tyo serious aspect or business aspect, I do work, right? I'm in business also. Tyo project garna pani, I think Shark Tank helped me a lot. But again, it was something that I have been always doing off camera. It's just that now it came on camera. Because even off camera, there used to be a lot of investment, young entrepreneurs coming with their ideas. We used to investment हामीले लगानी चाहिँ गर्थ्यौं. तर that used to be off camera. तर अब त्यही कुरा Shark Tank जस्तो प्लेटफर्ममा online on a national television, that also international franchisee आएको बेलामा गर्नु पाउँदा चाहिँ I was more than happy to become a part of that as a shark. So it helped me, I guess, that this guy is a little serious. He works also one.
The serious one, but no, we really, I mean, nobody got to see you to lens but up pani neither, like based on whatever we saw this case, but that was such a nice, like, way of seeing you. So what did you think about the experience, like season 1? So what did you think?
Amazing experience. मलाई के लाग्यो भने, I mean, the show, besides, it doesn't matter how we felt, what we did. that is secondary. Of course, the experience was amazing. We learned so much. We met amazing people. That is secondary. Malai, your show ko impact is something that is something groundbreaking. Before this show, no, it was a risk, है फेरि. It would do well or not भनेर कसैलाई थाहा थिएन Shark Tank. नेपालमा Shark Tank चल्छ कि चल्दैन कसलाई थाहा थियो. But we said, this is a show that Nepal needs. This is a show that will catapult entrepreneurship culture, business culture to the next level. So we are committed. We will come on as sharks. We will invest. Let's do the show भनेर सबै लागेकै हो. Hats off to the Himalaya TV for taking that risk and to all the sharks for coming in and investing. Fortunately, what we wanted to do, it did. It changed the conversation. Conversation around chapasal, conversation around coffee shops, conversation around family dinner tables, conversation in organizations, saying that, hey, Nepalma to hundo rahicha ni ta. They were talking about business, talking about the pitches, talking about the idea, talking about the analysis. So the narrative changed from politics to business. That was a paradigm shift that Nepal needs. And Nepal will continue to need. विदेशमा युवा पलायन भइरहेछन्, ट्यालेन्ट बाहिर गइरहेछन्. किन? Whenever there is a lack of opportunity, talent always leaves. Not just here, globally. Young people are leaving for better opportunities. So, lack of opportunity, talent always leaves. But when opportunity grows, talent returns. That is what we want to do. We want to show the possibilities in Nepal. Nepal economy सानो छ, देश सानो छ भन्छ. Nepal is not a small economy. Nepal is an underbuilt economy. We have not been able to grow at the grow नभएको होइन, growth भएको छ. There is growth, there is opportunity. तर जुन हामीले सोचेको growth, fast track हुने growth, the growth that we want to see in my lifetime, in our lifetime, त्यति तीव्र गतिमा विकास नभएको मात्रै हो. त्योतिर कसरी लग्ने भनेर कुरा आउँछ. त्यो भनेको हेर्नुस्, कुनै व्यक्तिले ल्याउने होइन. जतिसुकै राम्रो व्यक्ति होस्, लिडरशिप होस्, it would help, तर त्यो व्यक्ति भन्दा सिस्टमले ल्याउने हो. We need to change the system. नेपालमा कुरा के छ? People have brilliant ideas. Founders are doing amazing jobs. तर scale up हुन केले रोक्छ त? System को failure छ. Policy को instability छ. Infrastructure को कमीले गरेर logistic cost-हरु हुन्छ. Compliance-हरु. यो सबैले गरेर रोकेको हो त. त्यसैले त्यो growth हुन, now we need to work on the system. People will come and go. Whether it's in the government or in an organization. But if you have a robust system, a transparent system, sustainable growth, prosperity will follow. So that is something, हामीले चाहिँ we need to work on the systems.
You are an investor. So invest गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ what are the things that तपाईलाई चाहिँ एकदमै okay, this is a non-negotiable खालको के हुन्छ नि, this is very important for me to bet on this business भनेर चाहिँ few things, like 2 or 3 things that like हुन्छ नि, यो बिना चाहिँ म इन्भेस्ट गर्दिन भनेर.
Number 1 is integrity. Okay? Whenever business मा चाहिँ integrity is a non-negotiable. किनभने integrity is something that a reputation that you build over a period of time. So integrity ko value cannot be more than any business idea or any amount of money. Some ventures can fail. It can go in a loss, but you can always recover. The reputation भनेको एकचोटी वर्षदेखि कमाएको दशकौंदेखि कमाएको तपाईको इज्जत सम्मान भनेको एकचोटि तपाईको बिग्रियो भने it is almost impossible to repair. So integrity is number one.
Can you give me an example like integrity भन्दाखेरि just like not manipulating numbers जस्तो भन्नुभएको हो कि not
integrity as a goodwill of you or your organization. The way you conduct yourself.
Okay.
The way public perceives you. Are you a company that society wants you to exist? Are you a company that stakeholders, partners want to work with?
Okay.
Are you a company that the government looks up to as a good taxpayer, supporting them? Are you a company that generates employment, works within the compliances? So that, as a good citizen, as a good company, that is one. Secondly, different sectors, different indicators will be there in terms of how you want to invest or not. Expertise will be there. तर त्यो सँगै एउटा टीम प्लेयर हुन्छ कि हुँदैन? Because even as a leader, what is a good hallmark of a leader? A leader is someone एउटा मार्गदर्शन देखाउने व्यक्ति हो नि त. मार्गदर्शन देखाएर सबैलाई चाहिँ समेटेर लग्ने कुरा हो. If there is a failure, the leader will take the fall. He will take the blame for the failure. If there is success, a leader will ensure that the team takes the credit for the success so that the team always leads and they feel good and they're aligned in your future ventures. जे भने पनि हैन म त यही कम्पनीमा काम गर्ने, यही लिडरशिपमा काम गर्ने भनेर. So त्यो leadership is an ideal exemplary type of leadership which we all try to become. त्यो टीम भित्र ल्याउँदा I don't want the smartest person. I don't want the most skillful person. I don't want the best person. Unless he is able to work with the team, work with the same integrity, work with the same values, aligned with the vision and mission of the company, and able to take his team along. So a lot of times, we call them eagles. There'll be a star manager, star CEO, a star salesperson, but he's like an eagle, always soars alone. He cannot take anyone with him. That generally doesn't work. You need to be able to take a team along, which is not bad. Sometimes there is one guy, he meets his target, let him meet alone. Okay, fine, but he is isolated. But to take and grow the organization along, you need to have someone who is able to work with the people. But again, within the system, frameworks, again, I'm talking about the principles, the legacy, the values of the company, which could be different for different organizations. So those are two non-negotiables, I feel. One is integrity, and second is a team player who is willing to work, and a good leader who can help others succeed too.
I think, given your position, can you tell, like, can you, with one conversation, can you tell, like, yo duta qualities cha ki chaina, or does it take, like, more meetings?
I would like to say yes, but a lot of times हुँदैन त्यस्तो, किनभने फर्स्ट मिटिङमा जज गर्नु गाह्रो नै हुन्छ. तर in terms of the honesty, in terms of his willingness to learn, his honesty in terms of accepting what he doesn't know. Sometimes when a person accepts that you don't know and you're willing to learn is one of the biggest indicators that he is a keeper in the organization. आउँछ नि मलाई यो पनि थाहा छ, यो पनि थाहा छ, यो पनि थाहा छ. तर some people will say, sir, I can do this, but this I do not know. भन्यो भने that shows a level of honesty which I appreciate, and I feel that this guy can be trusted because he is willing to learn and he'll work with the team also and he's honest भनेर. So that is one indicator I look for.
Shark Tank ma or generally pani अहिले तपाईको के were you particularly interested okay यो sectors say are booming अनि यसमा चाहिँ इन्भेस्ट गर्नुपर्छ भनेर तपाईको के thought process थियो त्यति बेला?
Thought process थियो. Thought process कस्तो थियो भनेपछि एउटा चाहिँ अलिकता IT तिर किनभने the world is moving towards IT र नेपालमा चाहिँ IT को सम्भावना already $1 billion we can go up to a 10x growth हुन सकिन्छ र यहाँ talent छ भनेर. So अलिकता scouting र अलिकता IT आयो भने चाहिँ years used to be more attentive up ल यसमा के हुन्छ कि. तर मेरो आफ्नो व्यक्तिगत रूपले IT मा मेरो एक्सपर्टिज नभएको हुनाले त्यो भए पनि I would like to piggyback on his expertise and give him the support in terms of network, systems, resources to grow his business भनेर त्यो हिसाबले चाहिँ IT मा एउटा थियो. And as I said, I'm not a IT person and you talk to me about coding or systems, IT systems, I'm very bad. So that's one sector that I was looking at. The other sector I always feel is that no matter what happens in the world, IT moving forward, whatever, मान्छे खानु चाहिँ पर्छ.
Wow.
So FMCG is another sector that I would look at. One in terms of growth र मेरो एउटा ecosystem भइसकेको हुनाले एउटा backward integration गरेर कहीं जोड्न सकिन्छ, whether it was a bakery, whether it was हाम्रो food products like Bhola Food and the MoneyGram Bakery. So I was looking at ecosystem to build so that I have a complete ecosystem which can support the FMCG wing organizations, the various companies that we have in SMCG. त्यसलाई चाहिँ integrate गरेर एउटा holistic approach मा end to end FMCG मा हामी गर्न सक्छौं कि भनेर. So those two sectors I was looking at. तर त्यो सँगसँगै I think we invested in many other sectors also because they were so interesting and it really piqued our interest.
तपाईँलाई FMCG बारे चाहिँ सबसे intriguing लाग्ने कुरा के हो? Because under Padma Jyoti Group चाहिँ I see a lot of FMCG companies. Okay? So what do you find most intriguing?
One is the size of the business. If you talk about the size of the business, it's almost billions of rupees. र त्यो सँगसँगै नेपालको डेभलपमेन्ट हेर्यो भने र रेमिटेन्सकै कुरा गर्दा अहिले चाहिँ हाम्रो अब एन्टायर इकोनोमी इज रनिङ अन रेमिटेन्स which I am not comfortable because I believe that from a remittance and labor export driven economy we need to convert that, create opportunities, and the youth need to convert Nepal into a homegrown, value-driven country where we can start adding value to products here and exporting them. अहिले के export भइरहेछ हाम्रो? Whatever is raw materials, but low value and low value products. That's all that's being exported. So how can we create value here? त्यो हामीले export गर्न सक्नु पर्यो. So converting that value driven and pivoting from remittance is what we need to do. तर अहिले तत्काल अलिकति ग्रोथ भएको consumables मा FMCG मा भने हाम्रो billions of dollars every month coming in. Everyone is busy, they want to eat out भएर FMCG तिर चाहिँ ठुलो मार्केटको ग्रोथ भइरहेछ in terms of eating out, QSR restaurants. Secondly, सबै व्यस्त भयो नि त. अहिले त महिला पुरुष भने पनि सबै काम गरिरहेछन्, व्यस्त छन् भनेपछि convenient solutions, easy cooking solutions त्योतिर हामीले जान सक्यौं भने त्यो यहाँ मात्रै हैन फेरि नेपाली डायस्पोरा यति ठुलो भइसकेको छ कि we can take Nepalese cuisine globally, Nepalese food. You know, we're talking about titaura, lakhmari, bara, packaged goods like we can even do, you know, shell rotis, so many things that we can, you know, guaramari, So many things that we can actually take globally. Whether it's in a pre-mixed batter format, whether it's in ready-made format, like candy banaune ki. So many things that we can do. Lakhmari as a gift, in a way which new Nepalese brands are already doing. So that is a huge sector, unexplored sector, where we can take Nepalese cuisine, products, confectionery items globally. So that was something that it takes a lot of my time, and I think about how can we do the processing here, how can we do the packaging, how can we do the marketing, the branding. So that is something that we need to really explore.
कुनै पनि इभेन्टमा I see you as a big advocate, obviously made in Nepal प्रोडक्टहरु युज गरौँ अनि एक्सपोर्ट पनि गरौँ भनेर हैन. Based on everything that you said, food को त कुरा गर्नुभयो, what else do you feel like has a huge potential export hone that maybe is not being tapped into अहिले?
Nepalma, we really need to focus on manufacturing. Agi मैले भने value addition as well as manufacturing. Manufacturing ma, if we can get into niche manufacturing ferry, because we have not just India and China as our giant neighbors, but the global market ma chai, we have not been able to tap. Whether we talk about our cuisine, whether we talk about our culture, handicraft products, even handmade products. हाम्रो कस्तो अवस्था छ भनेपछि मलाई लाग्दैन कि क्वालिटी को इश्यू छ. Quality is not an issue. We have the best कारिगरहरु, आर्टिस्टहरु, carpet weavers, confectionery makers, herbs, spices, medicinal plants. We have the best. Quality is not a problem. The problem is in terms of scalability. नेपालको कफी राम्रो गरिरहेछ, कसैले 1000 टन माग्यो भने अहिले दिनु सक्छ, सक्दैन. त्यो स्केलै छैन. So scalability, example, scalability. Second is marketing, brand positioning, and storytelling for the global market. That is where we lack. So त्यति हामीले गर्न सक्यौं भने in this decade we will see a lot of Nepalese brands going global. And who have to do this? The younger generation. The younger generation need to come. They need to start building. If you see any country that's doing economically well, they've been through a lot of challenging phases. Iti challenging phases they've been through, but they've overcome. So what matters is whether the youth want to build that future or just complain. It's easy to complain, but are you willing to stay and build that future that you dream about? So the youth have to take a decision.
Do you see early youth embracing the made in Nepal products or not? Because I feel like they are, early recent mother. I see a lot of youth. Just as a mother, we went to Hubago office and like they're an amazing brand. I see the youth really spending a little bit more just to support your homegrown Nepali brand. So do you see that or not?
Definitely. I think over the last 2 decades, so many excellent brands, products, services made in Nepal ko aisakeko cha. So that is a very positive trend. तर हामी नेपालमै सीमित हुने हो भन्ने मेरो प्रश्न हो. किनभने जुन नेपालको युनिकनेस छ in the products, the services, the culture, as I was talking about, there is a huge potential for these brands to be global brands. So are we dreaming small? भन्ने कुरा आयो. तर त्यसको लागि फेरि एउटा चाहिँ बाध्य एउटा ब्यारियर भनेको एक किसिमले हाम्रो ब्रान्डिङ मार्केटिङ सँगसँगै नेपालमा प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटीको पनि कुरा छ बिकज आई वान्ट टु इन्भेस्ट आई वान्ट टु टेक माई ब्रान्ड ABC brand, Nepali brand, globally. What is the prediction of the market for the next 10 years in Nepal? Can you tell me? That I need. Because I am going to invest in my capacity to build a factory, to employ people. If I don't know how the market or the economy of the country is going to be 10 years down the line, minimum 5 to 10 years चाहियो मलाई नतबा कसरी लगानी गर्ने मैले त्यो चाहियो दोस्रो what are the policies stability in terms of policies to support my business domestically as well as for exports तेस्रो to support the business नेपाल सरकारले के सुविधाहरू दिने हो धेरै ठाउँमा त फ्री इकोनोमिक जोन्स बाटो पुराइदिया हुन्छ बिजुली पुराइदिया हुन्छ पानी पुराइदिया हुन्छ ल मलाई यो स्टेटमा लगानी गर्न हो भारतमै भने पनि यति वर्षसँग इन्कम ट्याक्स फ्री गरिदिया हुन्छ सो व्हाट इज द सपोर्ट फ्रम द स्टेट लुक एट कम्पनीज लाइक BYD लुक एट चाइना हाउ मच सपोर्ट they got from the state until they became independent and now they are the number one globally. So त्यो kind of support र commitment state बाट पनि चाहियो. So त्यो भएन भने चाहिँ alone जानु चाहिँ एक्लै गर्छौं गरिरहेछौं हामी प्रयास त हामी गर्छौं हैन हाम्रो कामै त्यो हो हैन इकोनोमीको ब्याकबोन भने है हामी प्राइभेट सेक्टर हो जेसुकै होस् राजनीतिक अस्थिरता होस् नीतिमा स्थिरता छैन जुनै काम गर्दा 5 इयरको त मिनिमम एउटा आउटलुक र प्लान चाहिन्छ हामीलाई आज भोलि के हुन्छ थाहा छैन तर अझै हामी लगानी गरिरहेछौं वी आर द मोस्ट रिजिलियन्ट पिपल Nepalese and the Nepalese entrepreneurs hats off to everyone tara imagine we have that stability we have a prediction model in terms of where we are going a long term plan where we can reach definitely will be a lot of our companies a lot of our services Nepalese brands and products will become global companies.
Do you think it's a good thing resilient bhayeko chai because I feel like sometimes I myself when I think Nepaliharu ekdam resilient pani bhayera we're not I mean bhakkar the Gen Z revolution was like the only time maybe we were not I know we just stood up for our rights everything but I feel like even
that is a kind of resilience
that is a kind of resilience but sometimes we're like okay bhaida racha ni khalko huncha ni sometimes we are like okay thik cha we'll just get through it khalko
even bhaida cha bhanera I don't think the younger generation has patience because if they were happy our youth हाम्रो सबै युवाहरू सन्तुष्ट थियो ए भइराछ राम्रो भइराछ भने त्यति संख्यामा देशबाट पलायन हुँदैन थियो they want a better future they want change at a faster pace they want better lives not just for themselves for their aged children or for their children basic education health social security insurance त्यति चाहिने हो नि त के चाहियो हेल्थ इन्स्योरेन्स भयो भने त सबै यही बस्छ नि आफ्नो खुसीले त बाहिर गए हैन सो त्यो अपर्च्युनिटी हामीले क्रिएट गर्नु पर्यो त्यो अपर्च्युनिटी हामी सबैको जिम्मेवारी हो त्यो क्रिएट गर्यो भने एज आई सेड अल द पिपल अल द ट्यालेन्ट व्हेन अपर्च्युनिटी ग्रोज ट्यालेन्ट रिटर्न्स सो त्यो अवस्था चाहिँ हामी सबैको जिम्मेवारी हो त्यो वातावरण बनाउनलाई
I see a lot of the youth returning pani हैन like Australia ma gaera they're like 10 वर्ष बसेर आएर पनि they're returning and starting their businesses के so they must be seeing something नि त तपाईले भनेको जस्तै potential so what do you think about like कुनै underrated you talked about IT sector and FMCG भनेर भन्नुभयो हैन अरु underrated marketहरु चाहिँ कुन लाग्छ तपाईलाई sectorहरु चाहिँ
एग्रिकल्चरमा भ्यालु एडिसनको कुरा गर्दा ठुलो सम्भावना चाहिँ छ सो कृषिमा र कृषि मात्रै हैन कृषिसँग सम्बन्धित जुन हाम्रो पूर्वाधारको कुरा हामी गर्छौं शीत भण्डारदेखि लिएर विभिन्न स्टोरिङ फेसिलिटिज र पूर्वाधारै भन्छु म प्रोसेसिङ पनि प्रोसेसिङको कुरा पनि हामीले यहाँ गर्न सक्छौं होइन सुन्तला छ सुन्तलाको बोक्रा हामी फ्याल्छौँ चाइनाले त्यही बोक्राको दे मेक तितौरा प्रिजर्भेटिभ्स शीत भण्डारमा गएर हामीले चाहिँ जोमसोङको स्याउ हामीले चाहिँ जोमसोमको सुन्तला मुस्ताङको स्याउ भनेर हामी राख्छौँ वी ओन्ली गेट इट 2 months अ मन्थ इन अ इयर त्यसलाई हामीले शीत भण्डार भएर हामीले चाहिँ सबै ठाउँ लजिस्टिकली डिस्ट्रिब्युसन गर्न सक्छौँ त्यसैको प्रोसेसिङ भ्याल्यु एडिसन गरेर वी क्यान मेक भेरियस प्रोडक्ट्स आउट अफ इट whether it's jam, whether it's pickles, whether it's so many things that we package गरेर हामीले बिक्री गर्न सक्छौँ होइन ड्राई गरेर भ्याल्यु एड गर्ने हो नि त अहिले के भइरहेछ अघि मैले कुरा गरे जस्तो सबै हाम्रो कच्चा पदार्थ र मटेरियल सस्तो मूल्यमा हामीले एक्सपोर्ट गरिरहेछौँ र भ्याल्यु एडिसन 3x 4x 5x 10x विदेशी मुलुकमा भइरहेछ सो द्याट इज समथिङ द्याट वी क्यान रियली लुक एट राइट र इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर एडुकेसन आइटी एनर्जी जुनसुकै क्षेत्रमा हेर्नुभयो भने तपाईँले चाहिँ ठुलो चाहिँ सम्भावना चाहिँ छ तर अलिकता हाम्रो चाहिँ अब सिस्टममा चल्नु पर्यो एउटा चाहिँ मेरिट बेस्ड ट्रान्सपेरेन्ट सिस्टम्स जसमा चाहिँ गभर्मेन्ट निड्स टु प्रोभाइड अ लेभल प्लेइङ फिल्ड विथ द बेसिक इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर एन्ड अ अस्योरेन्स हामीलाई के चाहिएको व्यवसायहरूलाई म त भन्छु सम्मान र सुरक्षा चाहिएको हो व्यक्तिलाई सम्मान किनभने उसले त्यत्रो लगानी गरेर रोजगारी सृजना दिइरहेछ कर तिरिरहेछ व्यक्तिलाई सम्मान र मेरो या कम्पनीको लगानी संस्थाको लगानीको सुरक्षा त्यति हो चाहिने दुईटा कुरा दिनुस् हामी नेपाललाई अर्थतन्त्रलाई नेपालको विकासलाई डिस्पोजेबल इन्कम वेल्थ जेनेरेसन जब क्रिएसन हामी गर्छौँ हाम्रो काम हो तर त्यो पूर्वाधार त दिनुस् सम्मान र सुरक्षा त दिनुस् हामीलाई त्यति हो हाम्रो माग
Do you think going forward भर्खर elections भयो everything do you see hope of that becoming better?
Of course there's always hope and now अरू केही नभने तापनि एउटा मेजोरिटी सरकार र अब लगभग त 2/3 औला जस्तो पनि छ सम्भावना देखिरहेछ भनेपछि त अब त हामीले सानो रेलगाडीबाट अब चाहिँ एउटा हामी चाहिँ ठुलो एउटा तीव्र गति र एउटा बुलेट ट्रेनको रूपले तीव्र गतिले हामीले अगाडि बढ्नुपर्ने मौका चाहिँ हाम्रो ठुलो मौका चाहिँ छ सो यो मौका गुमाउनु हुँदैन र हामी सबै मिलिकन नेपाललाई चाहिँ तीव्र गतिमा विकास शान्ति सुरक्षा समृद्धितिर हामीले लाउनुपर्छ
कुनै एउटा पोलिसी डु यु थिङ्क द्याट यो चाहिँ अब चेन्ज भयो भने द कन्ट्री इज रियली मुभिङ टुवर्ड्स prosperity, economic prosperity अब going forward do you have any policy in mind?
एउटा पोलिसीले हुँदैन एउटा त एक किसिमले कन्फिडेन्स र माइन्डसेट पनि हो जुन अब यो चेन्जले गरेर एउटा पोजिटिभ माइन्डसेट फ्रेममा मान्छे आइसकेको छ अब त्यो पोजिटिभ माइन्डसेटलाई पोजिटिभिटी र होपलाई परिणत गरेर उहाँले चाहिँ काम कार्य त्यही हिसाबले अगाडि बढाउनु पर्यो त्यो माइन्डसेटलाई कन्फिडेन्समा बदलिनु पर्यो कन्फिडेन्समा कसरी बदलिन्छ गभर्नमेन्टको कार्य जुन भने इकोनोमिक रोडम्याप इकोनोमी प्रोत्साहन गर्न उहाँको नीति नियम त हजारौं छन् हैन हाम्रो चाहिँ तपाईको औद्योगिक एन्डदेखि लिएर आईटी डिजिटल फ्रेमवर्कको पोलिसीदेखि लिएर हाउ यु कन्डक्ट योरसेल्फ र मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेन्टली यत्रो तीव्र गतिले हामी टेक्नोलोजी अगाडि बढिसकेछौँ भने सबै कुराहरू हामी किन डिजिटाइज गर्न सक्दैनौँ हामी ट्रान्सपेरेन्सीको कुरा गर्छौँ फेयरनेसको कुरा गर्छौँ हाउ डु यु कन्ट्रोल करप्सन इमेजिन यु हेभ अ फेसलेस ट्याक्स अफिस all your licenses are online water bills online ल्यान्ड पास गर्ने सबै कुराहरू तपाईको जग्गा पास चाहिँ सबै अनलाइन भयो भने स्वतः करप्सन कन्ट्रोल हुन्छ डिजिटल फ्रेमवर्क हाम्रो छँदैछ नि पोलिसी इम्प्लिमेन्टेड नेपालमा नीति नियमहरू त धेरै राम्रो छन् त कार्यान्वयनमा मात्रै चुक्या हो नि त सो इट्स नट रकेट साइन्स जस्ट 1 2 3 few things positive mindset is there implementation of policies, transparency, fair level playing field will give confidence not just to the Nepalese investors, even for foreign investors, and there'll be growth.
Okay, perfect. So that was the business part of it, right? So let me just subtly move on towards the people aspect. For any business leader, I think people play an important role once more. People around you and people in your organization. So if I went to Padma Jyoti Group, what would and I just went to a random person and I walked up to a random person and I asked, okay, Saurabh sir, kasto hununcha bhaneर, as a leader. I don't want, obviously you wouldn't know what they would say, right? So what do you think of you as a leader? Or the standards that you hold yourself up to, no? Like I have to be a yesto khalko leader.
A leader is, I would know what others would say about me, but what I aspire to be is something that I can work on. And I always work on. एउटा चाहिँ विभिन्न, when you are looking after so many business verticals in so many different sectors, as a leader, you always need to listen to the experts, the advice, the way to manage businesses, the strategies from the experts in that sector, which would be the CEOs of that business, country managers, or even the salespeople and the staff from that business.
Yeah.
Because सबै क्षेत्रमा आफू विज्ञ हुन भने सम्भव पनि हुँदैन. So I always make it an effort that all the voices in the room, whether it's the boardroom or from the shop floor, are heard. Not necessarily this is a good strategy, because there's sometimes, a lot of things come in and then, you don't have a focused approach. But generally, it is the right decision to take all the inputs and then you take a call based on that. And then when you do that, generally you land up making the right decision and something that is good for the company, aligning again with the company policies, values, ethics. That is something I strive to do.
Making people heard,
yes,
right? Seen, heard.
And more inclusive approach. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes, otherwise if you're authoritarian and you just take a decision, it could be quicker. But leadership is not always about being authoritarian, I feel. Leadership is more in terms of taking the team alone, taking a more inclusive approach for the long-term growth of the company. So that is the approach I try and take.
So that's from the leader aspect, right? So अब म चाहिँ पद्म ज्योति ग्रुपमा आएँ रे, कुनै एउटा रोल फिल गर्नलाई इन्टरभ्यूको लागि आएँ रे, अनि then I'm sitting across you, हैन? अनि what would make you feel like I am a good fit for your company? Like what would you seek in me भनौँ न, that would make me a good fit हजुरको कम्पनीको लागि चाहिँ? I'm sure it's role specific huncha, but keeping it very general, value based.
One, as I said earlier, was honesty and integrity is something that is a value that is a non-negotiable. Secondly is the willingness to learn. Willingness to learn and be a team player. And also the ambition that you have. But ambition in the sense, at what cost, how you want to grow within the company is something that I would dig a little bit deep into in terms of to reach here, how would you like to reach here? What would be your process? How would you be able to deal with the problems that you have with your team members? And are they aligning with the visions of the company or not? So those are things that I would look at. But generally, one is also the feel-good factor. Because when you meet a person, you already have this, अब you say no, अब छैन भन्छ तर एउटा स्विच अन गर्यो भने बत्ती बल्छ, मोबाइलबाट कसरी भोइस आइरहेछ या डाउनलोडिङ so many videos are coming over there. So it's like, if you think of it, technology ho, but you can't explain it. It's magic, right? It's like, have you ever thought you put on and the light comes on? So is it magic or what is it? So it's frequency ho, it's energy frequency. So when you meet a person, it's very similar. You get certain vibes from a person, positive vibes. Sometimes you get negative vibes. So it is very important that I have positive vibes with that person, because that is someone who you spend more time in the office than at home, and you have to work with that person. So if you get negative vibes, you can't stand the person, then obviously your work will be, hampered, and no matter how talented or skillful that person is, you will not be able to work with. So I think that vibe is very important, the mindset and the positive vibes.
अघि तपाईँले इन्भेस्ट कोमा गर्ने भन्दाखेरि पनि you're like, okay, no matter how skillful this person is, he or she needs to have a certain level of character and everything. So have you ever had a scenario that you thought, okay, this person is very skilled, ekdam skilled मान्छे हो, तर not a good fit, not bringing a good vibe to the company, त्यस्तो कहिले feel भएको छ, and you choose to act on it?
A lot of times. Because just being skillful is not enough. Skillful matrai bhayera chahi, if he cannot align with the company's systems, style, his colleagues, in the long run, it will be detrimental for the company. So a lot of times, though, the most skillful people, we've had to let go because of these reasons.
How do you feel when you have to let go of people? Like, the moment kasto huncha?
I think you get used to it because generally, again, I come back to systems. Any institution, most of our companies are run by a certain system. Even if I'm out of the office 7 days a week, running, the company is running because there's a system in place. So it's not people driven, it's system driven. So people who can improve the system, work on the system, are more valuable than people who are just really skillful at their own specific jobs. They have to fit into the system, but again, within the system, they have to fit into the company philosophy and the values that we abide by.
I asked this question last episode ma Anand sarlai pani. I'm going to ask you. So अहिले चाहिँ among Gen Zs, there's this very common thing called work-life balance भनेर. So there's this एकदमै debate that's going on. Any entrepreneur or any business leader who has reached to a certain position, some will say, okay, a lot of them will say work-life balance भएर चाहिँ you cannot reach to that level of success भन्छ. अहिलेको Gen Zहरूले चाहिँ I'm not going to die for my job, I'm not going to die for my company, my mental well-being, everything is so important भन्ने एउटा clash हुन्छ. अनि business चाहिँ is like, okay, since we are paying you, you have to abide by your responsibilities no matter what, even 9 to 5 matra हैन, beyond that पनि. So what is your thought process त्यो कुरामा चाहिँ? I'm just like trying to understand.
So I think मनबाट त म Gen Z नै हो, किनभने I have the same thought process because unless you have a heart at peace, you are mentally clear, you cannot achieve or you cannot excel at anything if you don't have that clarity or that peace in mind or your heart is happy. So overall, balance is necessary. However, you have 24 hours. You'll sleep 8 hours. So you still have the rest of the day. You can do whatever you want, 16 hours mata. You can lot of time to pursue a hobby, to work productively, to exercise, to spend time with family and friends. So you have to structure your day in a way where you can be the best version of yourself in various roles, as a friend, as a family, as an employee, as a business owner, and as well as taking care of yourself. So this is something that you cannot just say, okay, I'm going to chill out. If you have committed, you have a job, you're running a business. Sometimes you can be more productive in 2 hours than
Yeah, that's
just
true.
being busy and being productive are two different things.
Yeah.
So just because you're busy doesn't mean that you're doing great things. What if you're busy throughout the day but getting nothing achieved?
Yeah.
But within an hour you can get your assignments, you can get your job done. 1 hour and you go. And I'm sure nowadays the bosses don't mind. You've given an assignment, you're given targets, you're given certain things to do. You finish in an hour and you go home. I don't need you hanging around office for 8 hours. You've completed your work, you go.
Really, you like Unsani, you would have that vibe in the office where people can, if they finish the work, 2 घण्टामा they can leave.
Currently, हाम्रो चाहिँ अलि conservative companies मा चाहिँ we still follow 10 to 6 को system. But in the newer companies like white hat, tech companies, creative companies, they're like, I don't know what they're doing, They're like some are, playing games, some are making, websites, some are doing. So flexi time चाहिँ हुन्छ. Flexible time. So depending on the company and the DNA of the company where more younger people are working, flexible time also works. But main thing I personally believe is that not the hours that you work, what you do, whether you've completed your assignment in a certain period of time. If you do it, you're free to do what you want.
I just loved how you talked about energy, preserving after energy, everything about it. So if I asked you, तपाईको वरिपरिको एकदमै नजिकको मान्छेहरू, how do you pick those people? I mean, we are sort of picking people we want to be around, ni ta, जुन बेला पनि, whether it's like our employees or even our friends. So how does your inner circle look like? Tell me their traits. Okay, how do you pick your friends and people you want to be close with?
My inner circle is different. I have a lot of old friends. I have another circle of family, friends, as well as business colleagues who've become friends because of our common interests and similar traits. But it's all based on decades-long shared experience. Also in terms of groups that they are my critics, they challenge my thinking, and they always help me to grow. But at the same time, if anything happens to me, at a dial of a button, without asking, they will be there for me. So inner circle is very important, but there are different layers, as I said, family, friends, business colleagues, so they're different, but most of them have decades old relationship who really know me and always challenge and help me to grow and always have that mentality, that, they're always doing something new, something always positive mentality, always growing, learning all the time, never happy, always happy, but
always looking
not
for
happy
more.
with the state you're in. I'm happy now, but I still want to do
Better.
more, better. And always learning, unlearning, relearning, and pushing themselves.
It's positive.
Of course.
Always challenging, happy with the circumstances for our own sanity, but always looking for bettering yourself.
Looking for a better tomorrow.
Okay. So that's the people aspect,
and
right?
Growing and relearning. Because we think we know everything, but we always need to learn new things, sometimes unlearn and relearn new things or two.
Or तपाईँको लाइफमा at the present, who's the most influential person for you currently?
Currently?
Yeah.
A difficult question. त्यस्तो इन्फ्लुएन्शियल पर्सन भनेर छैन. it depends. It's more in terms of influential person. Mandapani, whenever I need to think of doing something, it always comes, a voice in my head that comes is generally from experience. Experiences, my personal experiences, past experience, as well as voices that come from family members, whether it's my father, elders, whether it's my brother, family members, and mentors. So those voices actually guide me to make decisions in life.
It's a accumulation of all those people who has shaped you, Vanam, no?
Yes.
Okay.
And friends
Friends.
and mentors.
So it's not just one person, it's just like all of the advices of multiple people.
And and my experience also.
Yeah, experience.
Is very important. Experience that I've been through. So I sort of weigh those in, and that influences my decisions.
So we've covered business part of it, people part of it. Now, I think a lot of people find this segment or this aspect the most uncomfortable, which is the money part. I mean, nobody actually wants to talk about money because it's always sort of been like a taboo, don't talk about it, like hush, hush, always. So, for example, for when I was growing up, for me, money, the way I saw money was always like from a scarcity wala lens, okay? Because जुन फ्यामिलीमा हुर्किन्छ जे देखिन्छ त्यस्तो हिसाबले नै यो पछि अहिलेसम्म पनि the way I think is still scarcity mindsetबाट नै I think like बचाउनुपर्छ लाइक हुन्छ नि हातबाट फुत्किहाल्छ कि केही नराम्रो भइहाल्छ कि हिसाबले. So if I asked you तपाईँको earliest understanding of money चाहिँ के थियो?
Again, going back to when I was brought up and the family conversations that we had, of course, it was never about profits or it was never about money. Of course, we knew that how hard people had to work or struggle to get money.
Yeah.
But money was never the center of the conversation. It was about how do we grow, what decisions can we take to grow the business, abiding by the certain principles that we abide, taking care of our employees, our customers, society, nation at large, and doing the right things in a systematic order.
Yeah.
And then money follows. But at the same time, money wasn't taken as power. Because you generally correlate money with power. You have money means you have power.
Yeah.
In our family, money is responsibility. Because when you have money, you need to be more responsible. Because it is something very important, even for a business. Profit is not a dirty word. You need to make profits. Tara, how are you making that profit?
No.
Are you able to sleep at night? And what do you do with that profit? Of course, the employee, all that part is there because you are sustaining the livelihoods of so many people. Tara, what are you doing with that money? You are reinvesting, creating more jobs, opening a new factory, opening new avenues of opportunity, investing in new sectors. It's a risk always. So it wasn't always, as I said, it was more of a responsibility rather than treating it as power and always being profit driven. If you have the right people, the right policies, you address the market, you make an impact, you create value for people, that is your customers, money will come by. But you reutilize that to grow your business. Not just your business, at the same time, the entire ecosystem.
Yeah. Community.
And community. So that is something that's what we've always discussed in family,
Yeah.
and that is how that has shaped our culture.
So, Oile, is the group involved in any can you give me examples of any community ko lagi or any philanthropic work or okay? Would you like to share?
Our philanthropic work is we are very selective in the sectors. एउटा चाहिँ हामीले आफ्नो community, because first you need to take care of your own, whatever said and done.
Yeah.
So हाम्रो community, हाम्रो language, we are Nevas. So we have various gutis, we have various we have to preserve our culture, language, heritage, whether it comes to temple construction, whether it's in terms of books, literature, giving donations or land for museums. हाम्रो कसा गुठीको, our family is actively involved. Second, since it's been passed down, हाम्रो धर्मको कुरा आउँछ, since we are Buddhists, we work a lot with the Buddhist community, Dharmodaya Sabha, World Buddhist Federation. So that is in terms of our culture and heritage we work on. Secondly is we work on being education. किनभने investing into schools, because हाम्रो फ्याक्ट्रीमा चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्थ्यो भने हामीले चाहिँ a lot of my grandfather's generations used to be laborers. Their sons started becoming managers. Now their grandchildren are engineers and CEOs, because we created an education system for them where they could go to schools, not necessarily free, but at a very nominal rate, and they got the best education, so that even within 3 generations we can see them. My son is a doctor, my son is an engineer, now he's working. Not necessarily they work with us, but even if they're working, they become engineers, they become managers. So education is another field that we work in. Third is road safety, because we are an automobile company. Our commitment towards road safety is of paramount. The safety of our customers, whether they are drivers or motorcycle riders. So we actively work in promoting, creating awareness for road safety initiatives, whether it be awareness campaigns or establishment of our various safety riding training centers, so that सबै चालक परिचालकहरू चाहिँ हाम्रो भेहिकल्सहरुमा या generally भेहिकल्सहरुमा बाटोमा सुरक्षित होस्. So that is something. And also our family is involved in many other initiatives in the health sector, whether it's spinal injury and various other sectors that we work towards, where we can contribute and make an impact.
So beyond, we're always because you're more community driven, but a lot of people are driven by power and the money, everything. So beyond just chasing and being in the pursuit of wealth, what investment do you think is the best investment that you can make beyond just money?
Relationships and learning and your health. Health, personal health. So there are 3 things. One is relationships, which has nothing to do with money or power. Relationships are very important as a father, a mother, a son, a brother, as a friend, as a mentor, as a teacher, or someone who's just going out and, making an impact, motivating people to do better, sharing your learnings. So that's relationships are very important, but more so in terms of family and friends is very important. Second is always learning, becoming better, be better today than you were yesterday, and be better tomorrow than you were today. So that you're always evolving, you are learning. be a better version of yourself, because I don't believe in competition. You are your only competition. So you always become a better version of yourself with each passing day. And third is, of course, health. Actually, first is health. Because a lot of you're talking about balance and everything. So take care of your health, eat right, exercise on time. That's something that you really need to take care of. Otherwise, if you don't have, something happens to you, you fall ill, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how successful you are. It's all irrelevant. So health is important, relationships, and then, of course, learning and growing.
If given early you're a 20-year-old and when I see your stories, you're going to Toastmasters, you're still like always trying to be better. So what would you tell that 20-year-old who's like, okay, what do you mean when you say making myself better? What would you tell that person?
So firstly is, what is their ambition, where you want to reach in life? And not just what you want to do next year. I would always say, what is your 10-year goal, what you want to achieve personally, professionally. So त्यो 10-year goal bhaisikeपछि, to reach there, what do I need to do? I need to convince people, I need to be a good speaker, I need to be communicative, learn those skills. No, I need technical skills, learn those skills. I need to be better at, I need to be healthier so that I can be able to perform certain tasks, work on that. My relationships are bad, this is affecting, work on your relationship. So it all depends on your goals, your ambitions in life. Make a 10-year goal, how you want to achieve them in terms of, as you said, work-life balance, in terms of personal, in terms of family, and in terms of professionally, and work on them day in, day out. And definitely the goal that you've set out 10 years down the line, you'll definitely be able to achieve. So that is something that's a constant process. Otherwise, you'll be left behind.
So, हामीले धेरै मान्छेहरुबाट धेरै different advices-हरु सुन्छौं, especially podcast-हरुमा, from business leaders themselves. And what do you think in business circles or whoever gets featured as system? What do you think is like the worst advice that's being circulated? Okay? That you find very generic, like, come on, like this, there's more beyond you pani kura bhanne kehi cha. Do you ever feel like that? Or do you feel like it's context driven? Like, okay, still that is also good advice? I
think testo kura garda, something that is playing it safe. Yeah, a lot of people say, you should play it safe. But in life, nothing is certain. You need to take calculated risks. By playing it safe, you may do all right. But if you don't put yourself out there, you don't stick your neck out. But calculated risk, I'm not saying jump into a well without learning how to swim. Learn the skill sets, do the hard work, do the due diligence, do your research, and then put yourself out there. Not playing it safe. Because when you don't play it safe, you take calculated risks. That is when you make the most of life and you make life-changing transformations, whether it's personally or professionally. Transformative change only comes from that. So don't play it safe. That's something that, that's the worst advice that you can get.
So go all in, but alikati calculated.
Of course. All in, but huncha ni, full kitting bhaner kura huncha ni. In any business, have you heard of a term called full kitting?
No.
So you go to play a cricket match, right? You don't have a bat, you don't have a ball, you don't have wickets, you don't have pads, helmet. How are you going to play cricket? Right? To play the game, you need a stadium, you need a mat, you need wickets, you need helmets, bat, gloves, everything you need. So whenever you get in, always full kitting is very important. Equip yourselves with all the equipments that are needed to play the game well and excel at it. So full kitting is very important.
Okay, love it. So we've concluded the business, people, and money part. So let's move on to the last segment, that is the rapid fire, which I did not tell you about, because we want it to be spontaneous. We want it to be full of fire, crisp, short. And this segment has been brought to you by, I didn't tell you. So this episode has been sponsored by a business called Salvino. I'm sure you've heard of it, right? Butwal Bisa. So Salvino shades, right? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Rapid, full of fire, crisp. You're a sector jun tapai you wish you entered earlier.
AI.
What do you wish young Nepalis understood about building anything?
Overnight success takes 10 years to build.
Wow. The business you wish existed in Nepal.
Existed in Nepal.
Yeah, it does not exist. You wish it existed.
I think mass transportation. Mass transportation is a sector that is direly needed in Nepal, but we're doing a terrible job at it.
Mass transportation, like you mean the trains? Like
Trains,
what do you mean?
big buses, infrastructure. That's something.
One trait every successful business person in Nepal or anywhere in the world would share. One trait.
One trait that any person in
any successful business leader would share, like यो trait चाहिँ majority मा चाहिँ हुन्छ successful हुनलाई चाहिँ. Patience. Profit first or people first?
People first. People will bring you in the profits.
The one thing that separates a good business from a great one.
Long-term vision and clarity.
One thing Nepal needs to export more.
Nepal itself. Nepal as a brand is under-marketed, underestimated, and it is one of the most powerful brand with such rich culture heritage. So Nepal as a brand is amazing.
One habit that has made you a really good businessman.
I can talk. So communication is very important. I would like to think I can convince people.
Yeah.
So that is something is very important.
One thing that you are never going to compromise on in life, one value.
Integrity, honesty, two things that I would always abide by.
So thank you so much for being here. Do you have any final words for anyone who is maybe since this is centered around business, people, money, anyone would be an aspiring business person or already someone who has a business? So what would you like to tell them?
Never give up. Always work on yourself to be better. And there is no such thing called overnight success. As I said, overnight success takes 10 years. So always have, especially for the younger generation, patience, perseverance, persistence, and work passionately to make your dreams come true. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I mean, it's always a pleasure listening to you. You're such a force of nature when it comes to positivity, and I'm so glad that you're here. Lastly, our sponsor has sent you a gift. Would you like to open it, please? So thank you for having me, Riya. Always a pleasure talking to you. You're doing great. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Wow, this is nice. We want you to like, eksari lagai pani dinu na.
I think it would look really good on you for your bike rides and everything.
Nice.
That's really good. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Done.